And now for the much awaited guest of the evening. I would like to say a few words about Jina Mamtani-Mahbubani. Mamtani-Mahbubani is a school counselor at the Prince William Alexander School of the Special Education. She has a great passion for working with children, and she assists them in dealing with their emotions and teaching them how to make positive decisions in life. Gina holds a master's degree in education with a focus in guidance and counseling from the University of Virgin Islands. During the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown, she has kept herself busy by doing professional development in her field of studies. It was during this time that Gina obtained her certification as telehealth professional, among many other certifications. Currently, Gina is doing a certified course on counseling, which is called Compassion Inquiry, with a concentration on trauma-related cases. Gina enjoys the little things in life and therefore has a passion for singing, creating beautiful paintings, cooking, baking, and swimming. During these difficult times, each person needs to have a self-care schedule to replenish their sense of self. It is because of this she believes that spa days should be on top of everyone's list, and she certainly has it as a priority. Welcome, Gina, to our Rotary Club of St. Martin Sunrise meeting. The floor is all yours.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you for that very warm welcome. And yes, I hope everyone has spa days on their self-care list. So welcome. Thank you so much for inviting me, Dolly. And I'm here. Yes, Alicia, I am also a very proud past Rotaractor. I am here to discuss distance learning and the impact it has on our children, parents, and teachers. All right, again, welcome everyone. So for tonight, we're going to be talking about what exactly is distance learning, current situations that our children, parents, and teachers are facing, working with technology, home environments and the involvement from parents, pros and cons of distance learning, and tips on making the best out of this situation. So with a little laughter in mind, in 2019, we would be telling children, you're not allowed to come to school with phones. But in 2020, we're telling children, schools are closed, please join us online from your phone. So distance learning, I want to specify exactly what it is because we tend to mix up online learning versus distance learning. So online learning occurs when there's, or sometimes it's called e-learning, when students can be together in the classroom with the instructor present and working on digital lessons and assessments together. Distance learning occurs when students are working online but at home while the teacher assigns work and check-in digitally. So this is currently what is happening on our island. Most children are doing distance learning. Now, what is the situation of our children? And now this, I'm going to say it's in general. So there's a loss of routine. Children need a routine in order to face their day, in order to get things done, in order to feel good about themselves as well. So being at home, loss of time, loss of a break time, play time, so the loss of routine. They are missing the social communication with their friends, which this is a very big part in child development. They need to know how to make friends, how to talk to children, how to deal with the problem or situations. They need a lot of hands-on interaction, which they are not receiving currently at the moment. Dealing with emotions. Now, they might not know what emotions they're feeling at the moment, or they might not feel safe expressing their emotions at home. And this would lead to children being having outbursts, being aggressive, tantrums, and the parents would just see it as, oh, they're such a rude child or it's a behavior issue. But we have to come to terms in realization that sometimes our children don't feel safe expressing themselves. And this is one of our major issues currently with the COVID situation. They don't have a way to say how they're feeling and to deal with those emotions. And children worry a lot. They pick up on conversations that are happening at home with the parents or anything they hear on TV, and COVID is being talked about a lot. So children pick up on everything and they worry about it. Um, and that might lead to also not being able to sleep because they're constantly worrying, they're constantly thinking. For example, I have a godson and he's with me every day, and we are doing this distance learning for him. And I would see him just sitting there deep in thought. I'm like, what's wrong? And the questions that would come out of the child's mouth, I'm like, wow, he's actually thinking so deep of this matter. I can't remember what the question is, but I tend to get questions every day. So they are thinking, and they worry a lot. So they have to deal with that, dealing with loss of family. Some children have lost family members during this time due to COVID, or also not due to COVID, but they have to deal with that situation. And they're expected to function regularly on classes. So it's a lot for them to deal with, and they're not sleeping properly. And now they're distracted by apps such as TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, and they're constantly on it. They're constantly on these apps to keep busy and not think about what all is going on with their emotions and feelings. And while being on these apps, it's not the best thing because they can get triggered other ways, and with other friends on the app. Current situations of parents. Now, you have some parents that are working from home if the possibility is there, or some parents need to go to work. Now, what happens to the children that are at home? Who's going to help them with their schoolwork? Um, you have some parents that are trying to help their children with the distance learning, but they don't understand the technology, they don't speak English as a language, so it is very difficult for parents as well. They're constantly dealing with the child's needs at home. Have you ever realized when children are at home, they're always hungry? They always something, they're always hungry. Oh my gosh. Dealing with loss of jobs or reduction in wages. So there's a lot of stress affecting parents, and they're feeling overwhelmed and they don't know how to deal with it. Especially parents that have special needs children, they don't know how to deal with the special needs. So it gets very overwhelming for them as well. Current situations of teachers. I have a lot of teacher friends. They're going crazy, okay? They're dealing with they're not able to deal with their emotional baggage of COVID and other stress factors because they have, a job to do with getting online. They have worries of finance situations, having to learn how to cope with and how to use new apps and technology at this stressful time. Remember, not all teachers are tech savvy, and it is a whole new experience for them as well. They have to learn, first of all, how the app works. Some teachers have to learn how the iPads work or how the computers work, then moving on to the different apps that they need to learn, and lesson planning with different apps and how you can reach the child via online. So it's very overwhelming for them. They have a lot of expectations from the parents and managers, and overall parents constantly bombarding their phones and WhatsApp with with questions, and teachers have to check in with parents every day to see if why the child wasn't online. I know teachers personally have to call them up to come online, so it is a lot to deal with. And again, as I said, teachers not having a chance to deal with their emotion or grief. And they have to take care of their own children as well while teaching, and taking care of their sick ones or family members. And as I explained, lesson planning on a whole different level. They have to, a lot of them feel like it's learning to be a teacher all over again, but online. So they're going through a lot. Everyone in that is involved in this is going through a lot. Now, some points to keep in mind working with technology with children. You have to monitor what type of content your child is consuming on the internet. A lot of the time, parents leave their children on the internet to get a free time, or once the child is on the internet or the iPad, they won't bother them. But you need to monitor where your child is going on the internet, because there's a lot of things happening on the internet, especially with these Roblox games that children are playing, TikTok. There's a lot of indecent things happening, and parents need to monitor that. Um, Facts: children under 2 years of age should not have screen time. It's for their development, for their eyes and brain development. Children 2 to 4 years of age should have no more than an hour of screen time per day. Now, when I say screen time, I'm talking about TV, computer, iPad, phone, anything to do with screen. Children older than 4 years of age should have no more than 2 hours of screen time per day. And now, just from those three, we know our children are getting way too much screen time, whether it's distance learning, whether it's playing on the phone, playing games on the phone. They are they're damaging their eyes and their brain development. So this is a major concern to me. Children should turn off all screens an hour before going to bed. This is so your brain can relax and get calm before going to bed. Otherwise, with all the radiation from the screen, from the phones, it doesn't help them to settle down. So points to keep in mind. When watch programs with your children and talk to them about what they're watching. This also builds a connection between you and your child. And your child will see that you're interested in what he wants to do. So it would help. Now, teachers working with technology. What would help is if you change your mindset to say, you know what, you can do it, and take it one day at a time. Technology is there to help us. So we have to understand that, and don't get swept away by all the tools. A lot of teachers are hearing, oh my God, I need to go on Zoom, so I need to find out how Zoom works, or I need to find out how Google Classroom works or Teams work. But certain things are not happening on Zoom. The children can't use whiteboard when they're share screening, and they want children to interact with them. So now they need to learn a different app that can correspond with Zoom. So it's a lot that they need to do, but one by one, find an app that works for you and get familiar with it and use it. Try to keep in mind, technology is there to help us at times. So teachers can change their mindset. This would help, and be consistent and keep a flow, because remember, children need routine. And but everything takes time, so that's something to remember. So this is what a teacher's planning looks like at the moment, trying to figure out what to do, how to prepare the lesson, because now they need to prepare the lesson online, and how to prepare online assessments and how to give feedback online. So it's something new for a lot of them. Patience is the key. So now I would like to talk about home environment and parents' involvement. Being realistic from the children we have, and I'm not saying all, in general, So what we're facing is when the children are on distant learning, they're on their class, there's the noise level at home. There's no privacy for a lot of our children to be online. They're in the same room with all their brothers and sisters. So it gets very noisy during online schooling from on distant learning. And there's no, some of them don't have an appropriate place for online classes. Like, for example, I know of some of my children, they're doing their online classes on the bed, and that's not the most convenient place, but that's the only place they have. They don't have a table chair or proper, seating arrangements for them to be online. So that is something to think about. Their home settings, they're like 7, 8 people in one house with one room. So that has to be kept in mind. Language. Some of our parents they don't speak English. A lot of them are Spanish speaking parents, and so they don't understand the lesson that has been given by the teacher, or they don't understand what they have to do with technology. So it's a problem. That's another problem. Lack of device and internet. This is a major issue. I know we got some donations for tablets that we were so very grateful for, and we gave them out to students that needed it. But then the issue is also internet. We don't have the best internet on this island, but a lot of our children do not have internet access. Some parents would say, well, I can get the tablet and then I will try and catch some Wi-Fi from my neighbor or by going somewhere else. So it's inconvenient for our kids when we expect them to be doing distance learning. And also some of them might not understand the use of technology. Now, let me tell you, children are smart with technology, there's no doubt, but some of them, they need extra help, and that would be parents and children as well. Another thing to think about is the parents' work schedule. And one here is parents interfering with children. So now, if I'm teaching something to the child, the parent is answering for the child. So that is not helpful because the child is not learning. And when the child comes back to the classroom, the child won't be able to get the answers because mommy is not there to give him the answers. So that's another aspect to think about. And then there's time management and setting a schedule, setting a routine. Parents, again, not all, but quite a few of them are not able to have a routine for their children at home, and to have time management for different things like school time or play time, reading time. So that is very important for a child to develop and to succeed. So this is currently what parents are thinking. I'm now working, parenting, and co-teaching. And a few points, parenting during the pandemic. A good point to remember, notice what's going well with your child and compliment them. A lot of us parents, we don't compliment. When the child does something, even one thing good, take that time out to praise your child. That little praise will go a very, very long way. Take a step back, and it's okay to take a step back as a parent. Don't feel you need to be there at all times. Remember, you cannot serve or take care of anyone if your cup is empty. So parents, the suggestion for them is to take care of themselves as well. And don't feel guilty about taking care of yourself. Once you take care of yourself, you're modeling to your child that, oh, I need to take care of myself as well, just like mommy or daddy. Okay, so now when we're talking about the pros of distance learning, at least our education is continuing. At least the children are learning, and it's not just ideal time at home. And they're learning new things about technology, technology is a big part of our world today. And so that's a good point. That is, they will come out of this knowing how to use certain apps. So wonderful point. Practicing the value of responsibility. Now, I believe you shouldn't have to do everything for your child. You have to teach your child, okay, it's your responsibility. You need to go on to your class, teach them how to, for example, I do it with my godson every day. He comes in, he knows 7:30 is class time. Set your alarm for your next class because they have certain Zoom classes, and he has learned how to set his alarm, be on time for his class, write in his agenda what he needs to do. But we as parents need to teach them that. And that is a good skill to teach a child, responsibility. And also time management lesson. You need to teach your child that this is the time for math, take a break, have a fruit time, because not everything is work, work, work. So if you're including time management lesson in this situation that we're at, it will only benefit the child more. Um, and I find parents now are more involved in the child education in the sense that they know what the child is doing in school now. Because before, parents, okay, go to school. And a lot of parents would not ask the child, okay, so what did you do in school today when the child comes back? There's no talk about that. But at least now the parents are involved. Okay, my child is learning this in math. My child is learning that in English. At least they're involved in their lesson. Not saying that you don't need to give your child the answers, but you're involved. So and the child likes that the parents are there and they know what they're doing. Okay. And there's access to many educational tools. So this, you see the time that the child is on these video games, instead of that, give them access to educational tools to help them learn different subjects, but in a fun way with games. Now, the cons of distance learning. Physical activity is very less. So our children are gaining weight because they're eating all the time. We've already established that they're eating all the time, but there's no gym, there's no running around during break time. So that activity has become less. So you become very sluggish, tired, don't feel like doing anything, very lazy. I have a student, oh my goodness, he's on Zoom and he's lying down. You tell him, get up, that's not the way to be on Zoom. And they're just lazy because there's no physical activity. Screen fatigue. So we as adults get so tired of being on the screen. Our eyes, I could tell you for me, my eyes are constantly burning and hurting. So the children feel that too. So make it a point that the child has a break from the computer during their school time. Even if it's a 5 or 10-minute break, which is very important. The lack of encouragement. As I said, they're not there in the classroom where the teacher can, give them a sticker for doing something good or giving them compliments. So that falls on the parents. The parents need to give them some encouragement, even if it's something small that the child did, and encouragement goes a long way. And irregular sleeping patterns. It happens to me as an adult, and I'm sure it's happened to a lot of you. So imagine the children not sleeping well. And when we started this whole COVID period and I was counseling some of my children, they would not sleep until maybe 2 or 3 in the night, and they're busy just playing games. I'm like, why are you playing games so late? I'm like, your parents need to take your phone away from you. And they're like, no, it's my phone. My parents can't touch it. So yeah, our children feel like they're the big men and women in the house and they can do what they want and sleep when they want. And this does not help the development of the child. All right. So that's one of the cons of distance learning. And less favorable diets. Everyone's eating what they want, chips and the quick snacks. So it's good to get back healthy snacks in, because in schools, a lot of schools don't allow sodas or sugary drinks. So try to keep that in mind to keep the diet healthy. And stressors, the children have a lot of stress as well as the parents. Now, stresses can come from fear of the infection, frustration and boredom. You ask any child, how are you doing? I'm bored. It's like a normal answer. I'm bored. How can you be bored? There's so much you can do. Inadequate information when parents don't talk to them about what's going on, lack of in-person contact, and they miss their friends and they miss their teachers, and there is a lack of personal space at home. So these are some points to think on. Now, the most important subject that needs to be taught during these times is social emotional learning. Students need to be able to identify the emotions that they're feeling and express them in a safe way. Remember, a lot of these children, if they're feeling something, they look forward to going to school to tell someone, to talk to someone who they feel connected with, and they don't have that anymore. Um, or even talk to their friends about it, and they don't have that. So it is important that we're doing distance learning, that teachers first and foremost deal with their emotions and show them different ways to express them. Even if you can't talk about it, there's other ways that they can express their emotions, such as dance, art, yoga, meditation. Now, going back to my godson, he's with me all the time. So he has a schedule. When he comes here, it's 7:20. You have 5 minutes of mindfulness. So we put on the YouTube channel and he meditates for 5 minutes. And that helps the child settle in and get ready for their day. And mindfulness is a very big topic at the moment. Anytime I go into a session in class, distance learning on Zoom classes, I first and foremost start with mindfulness, a breathing exercise to calm them down. And that does a lot. So I would like us all to keep that in mind, even for yourselves as adults. Mindfulness is the way to go at the moment because we're all dealing with lots of stresses. And it's important to keep our mind and heart balanced and know that our children are not having that space to deal with them. So as teachers and educators, we should be able to try and reach out to them whenever we can during our class time to give them ideas or do activities of art and dance, get them moving. It will help them in the long run. So tips for making the best out of this situation: self-care. Self-care is very important for everyone, from teachers to parents to grandparents, everyone. And keep a balance of what you need to do, work and play, and try to express your feelings. If children, no, not if, children are at home all the time right now, parents need to teach the children how to express their feelings, and parents need to do it by modeling, role modeling. That's how they learn. That's the best way they learn. And it's good for the parents as well. So these are some pointers. How do you fill your cup? How do you fill your emotional cup? You can play with your children, praise, teach them on friendship skills, learning how to be a good friend, show some love and affection. So hopefully that helps. And again, going back to routine, which is very important, learn to set a routine with your child. Teachers are doing the best that they can by setting the routine of the different subjects and the different assignments and activities. So it needs to be done at home well. And any questions?
Very nice.
I see Cookie's raised his hand. Cookie?
Yes, President. Thank you so much. Gina, really good presentation. If you can share that presentation with us, would be really appreciative of. And one thing you just, in the last part, you touched the mindfulness. Can you express that to the club here, if it's possible?
I think you all should do a mindfulness activity or a mindfulness day with the whole group. You know, mindfulness can be yoga, can be meditation, can deep breathing, And it's very, very important. It can, because our emotions, you have to remember, our emotions are all over the place at the moment. We are all frustrated. We have the unknown right now, what's going to happen, and all of this is stressing our body out. We're not sleeping well, we're not eating well, we have nauseous, we have headaches every day. And being giving yourself and your body the time to just calm down, it really helps. And I would say, this is what I tell my kids: 5 minutes in the morning meditation, and that just, breathe in, breathe out, and 5 minutes before you go to bed. It makes a world of difference. So maybe you guys as a club can do maybe some yoga or some drawing therapy. I definitely encourage drawing therapy. Yeah, take time for you. Every one of you, you need to take time for yourself. If that is 5 minutes in a day, 10 minutes in a day, do something for yourself that brings your soul joy. Very important at the moment.
Very important.
Thank you. And are you going to share the presentation?
I will. I will send it to
Okay.
Dolly.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay. Alicia?
Good evening, Gina. I have a question. You touched on the amount of screen time allotted for students. Can you elaborate on that in terms of the age range? Let's say, for example, I teach K2, so that is I have 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, and some are 6. So, what is the average screen time per day that I should have my students on Zoom or even using Seesaw? I want to know for the entire day, the maximum amount of time I should have my students on.
For that level, Alicia, kindergarten, which they fall under And I mean, we are talking on school basis, but at home, unfortunately, they're always in front of the screen and they're always playing on the phone, or they're playing video games, and it's not helpful. And this might be the reason why we do have children that have certain issues, because we are not giving their brain the time to develop. And that screen, the colors and the glare from the screen affects their eyes. It doesn't let them develop properly. So keeping that in mind, that age group is 2 hours a day.
All right. So as an educator now that I know that it's 2 hours maximum, okay, I think I'm on the right track there. That also includes their time conducting their Seesaw activity, right?
Right.
Okay, so I have a question for you now. As an educator, how long, and I'm going to give my age, I'm 34 years of age. Can you let me know the amount of time maximum that I, in particular, should be in front of a screen conducting classes?
At 38, 40, that age,
34, boo, 34.
sorry. Let's say from the
I just,
30s onward.
Gina, I would like to answer her. She's only allowed 10 minutes. No, because President said the 5th test, 4-way test, the 5th one. Is it fun? So I just wanted to introduce that. Thank you.
For adults, I would have to research that, because I need to check scientifically how much screen time we should have. But say if I am constantly on the computer, 7:30 till 9:30, but it is not healthy for us at all. If you're doing screen time, say school hours, say from 7:30 to 1, and you have classes, say about 3-4 classes a day, you need to take a break. You need a break. Every hour of screen time, you need at least 10 minutes away from screen. So if it's an hour class, so you have 15 minutes class, 10 minutes break, because you need that time away for your eyes as well. But overall, how many hours adults are recommended to be on screen, I would have to research that.
Okay, thank you.
Wow. Oh.
Anyone else? I'm sure everyone has some question or the other.
Well, I have the same question that Alicia asked, so I got my answer there. But it would be nice to get
Number.
the answer from Jina in due time.
Well, before I send the presentation to Dolly, I will insert it in. I will pick it up and I will insert it in.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. You work with special needs students. How much different is it working for normal kids and like special needs students in this distance learning world?
Each child differs with special needs. Each child has their own um, issues or their own capacity that they can deal with. And we, as special educators and dealing with special needs children, we need to accommodate to each one of them. With special needs kids, again, time on screen makes a big difference. But unfortunately, even if it is not distance learning, the quickest way to deal that parents deal with special ed children are giving them a tablet and keeping them quiet. And that's not the best way. Unfortunately, that is what is done. Now, I have one child. The child cannot speak properly. The child um, can barely do anything online. So it is the mom that's doing most of the stuff with him. But understandable because of the way the child is. So as I say, each child is totally different and they need total different needs. Versus children that are in the normal school setting, they're able to handle a little bit more in terms of workload and, with their behavior and their development um, patterns. So it is a lot more, we need, as special needs, we need to keep it very simple for our special needs children. And we cannot do, say in a lesson, it has to be like one topic, one thing for them to even understand and practice.
Understandable. I see Alicia has her hand up again. Alicia?
Yes, me again. Gina, I have a question for you. What are your thoughts moving back, into the physical setting of class, of conducting classes in a building? What are your thoughts on the continuation of using technology in the classroom? Because what happens now, everyone, we are giving tablets, we are trying to get everyone on at home. But now when they end back, to school, come back to school, what are your thoughts on the continuation of technology in the classroom?
I definitely go for it. Remember, we're in a technological world, and technology can be our friend if it's used properly and in good timings. So I would definitely not stop with the online learning. I would definitely continue using the devices, the technology, the different apps, and this will only help the child develop and be and learn through. Because remember, children nowadays, they cannot only learn book and paper. Our kids are so used to gamings and everything online that when you make it more attractive with apps, they would learn better. That's my feelings. So I would definitely, Alicia, continue the online learning at school. But then again, it will be limited time, um, and it can work. We take the best out of the situation.
Correct. Thank you.
I think we have no more questions. Your presentation was very detailed, and a lot of points came up that you don't really think about um, otherwise. So I really want to thank you for this presentation, Gina. Thank you so much for making time.
Problem.
Ah, I have recorded this, so I will put it up on YouTube. Please, and I will put it on our Facebook page. Please feel free to share it because I think it's a very important message, especially for teachers and not only students but mostly parents, because you don't realize how much stress parents are really dealing with, or even teachers are dealing with. Most of our time, our mind is on, oh, the students or XYZ. So thank you very much on behalf of everyone.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here. And I will send you the information, Dolly.
Thank you so much.